There we go.
Hi, I'm Jeremy from International Sportsman. Today we're looking at the Remington Tac-13. This is a semi-auto defensive shotgun from Remington. We're going to see what makes it unique, take it apart, and then go do some testing with it. Stay tuned. Of course, like other V3s in the lineup, the heart of the Tac-13 is the VersaPort gas system, using two short stroke pistons attached to the barrel and then guide rods in the receiver. This allows for a low recoil shotgun that doesn't have a spring or a buffer tube in the stock. This allows Remington to change out the stocks and use anything they want back there, like this bird head grip. Since this gun has a 13-inch barrel, if you had a stock back there, it would be a NFA controlled item, a SBS or short barrel shotgun. But the bird head grip is not considered a stock. However, if you choose to file your tax stamp and turn it into an SBS, simply unscrew this bird head and then add a stock and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about anything going on at the rear of the gun. Now, what's different from the Tac-13 versus the V3 Tactical is, well, it's got a 13-inch barrel for one, but also this front barrel clamp, instead of being M-LOK, it has an attachment for Picatinny rails. Now, Remington includes the Picatinny rails, but I wish they had put the M-LOK barrel clamp on the front, just because it's a more modern design. Looking at the bolt handle, it has the standard charging handle instead of the oversized handle like the V3 Tactical. Additionally, it has the standard bolt release instead of the oversized bolt release like on the V3 Tactical as well. Now, one feature that this does have that the Tactical version does not is that it has a magazine cutoff switch. So simply flip the switch at the bottom and this allows you to empty the shell out of the chamber without having to empty the entire tube of shells. This is great if you want to change from, say, birdshot or buckshot or slugs and then throw something different in the chamber without having to change the entire loadout that you have in the gun. So let's take a closer look at the VersaPort gas system and how that works, and then we'll dive into some range testing. So now we're going to disassemble the Tac-13, but before we do, make sure that the bolt is locked to the rear and that you are completely empty. So the first thing to take it apart is remove the front barrel clamp. Now there are two screws holding it on. I've already loosened up the other side, and you don't have to remove these screws completely, just loosen them up enough to where it slides off the front of the barrel. With that removed, we can remove the magazine extension tube. Just make sure that the spring inside doesn't go flying across the room as you're trying to remove it. Now once that is removed, you can remove the front handguard, which just slides off the front, just like that. And then the barrel slides off and removes from the receiver. With the barrel off, tilt the gun forward to remove the plunger in the magazine tube. And now for the tricky part. I say tricky because sometimes it works great and sometimes it takes a couple of tries. Hold the bolt back with one hand and the bolt release with the other, and let the bolt come forward slowly, and the bolt should come out the front just like that. With the bolt out the front, put a little bit of rearward pressure on it so that you can remove the charging handle from the bolt and remove the bolt from the receiver. And the bolt just slides out the front of the receiver. With the bolt out, you can tilt forward and remove the two guide rods and springs from inside the receiver. Sometimes they pop out, sometimes you have to stick a finger in there and just pull them out. And that is the Tac-13 completely disassembled. So we've got the Tac-13 apart now, And real quickly, we want to look at the VersaPort gas system. So in the barrel, there are 8 ports, and depending on the length of shell that you put in determines how many ports are open. With a 3-inch shell, some of those ports are blocked off, but with a 2 3/4-inch shell, those ports are open. Now, as the gas comes in through these ports, it moves these pistons about 1/2 inch. Those interact with the carrier on the bolt. When the bolt is in battery, the carrier is forward, and the bolt has locked into the barrel. As the bolt and carrier move backwards, it unlocks from the barrel, and then it rides on these spring-loaded guide rods. Now, these rods are inside of the receiver, and that is what allows the VersaPort system to be shorter and lighter than other shotguns on the market. Now, you'll notice that on the Tac-13, it has a very small shell extension tube. This actually only adds like 1 shell to the tube, but it also has a red carrier in it, just like on the V3 Tactical. And this allows you to quickly and easily see that your chamber is empty. Now, putting the gun back together is just as simple as how we took it apart, just in reverse. But let's head out to the range and see how it performs. At the range, testing the Tac-13, we used a variety of shells, including birdshot, buckshot, and slugs. It performed flawlessly with everything, except for one exception. We had a malformed shell that didn't want to feed, but that's of no fault of the gun. Another interesting fact here is that we ran the gun completely dry. We had cleaned the gun and didn't add any lube back to it. And so even though we ran 200 plus shells through the gun, there were no malfunctions. Recoil is what you would expect from a 13-inch gun without any stock. Even though the VersaPort system does make it easier to shoot, it's still a gun that you have to control. However, the burning question on everybody's mind is, yes, you can shoot it one-handed, and recoil isn't actually that bad as long as you have a firm grip on it. However, if you're shooting it from looking down the sights or even at the hip, it's still a light recoiling gun, and for a home defense scenario, I would say it's very accurate. From a distance of about 30 yards, we were able to consistently hit the 10-inch plate over and over and over with any type of shell that we had, whether shooting from the hip or again aiming down. Of course, if you were aiming, you're going to be more accurate, and we were able to take a slug and hit a 4-inch target at about 30 yards consistently. Most people, though, I think are probably going to be firing it from the hip somewhat like this. So that's a look at the Tac-13. Now, as you saw, it is very similar to the other shotguns in the V3 lineup. Some final bits of information for you though. It weighs just under 6 pounds and the overall length is 26.5 inches. That is very short. So with all these features combined, the light recoil, the VersaPort gas system, and it being a super shorty, it makes for a very handy shotgun in home defense scenarios. Now, I would have liked to seen a few features from the V3 Tactical added to the Tac-13, but that's something that you can add later on if you choose to do that. Additionally, personally, I would add a stock to this gun and SBS it. I think that would make the gun even more handy, and for home defense applications, an even better thing. Now, going with a shorter barrel, you're saving about 6 inches from the standard V3 Tactical, and you're only giving up 2 shells. So I would consider that a win. In any case, it's something to think about if you're looking at a home defense shotgun. Now, for more information and to see some more pictures of it, go to internationalsportsman.com and check out our article. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, and we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.